There are three things that animals compete for, and these include food, territory, and mates. So we'll start off with one of the most common, and that's competition of food. So if you think about herbivores, and herbivores are animals which only eat vegetables or plants, there are so many different plants, but loads of different animals have the same plant. If you think about grass, for example, that's a very common food to eat. Cows eat it, lots of farm animals eat it, and they've got to compete for this food. Or if you think about in more like the desert or something, again, there's lots of the same vegetables or plants which the same animals need to eat. Now, we also need to think about carnivores, because carnivores also have to compete for food. So small animals like mice are eaten by loads of different foods, such as foxes, owls, hawks, and cats. And these different types all want to eat the same animal. So again, they're going to have to fight of who can catch it, who's the fastest, who's the strongest, and this is so that they can catch the animal. Now, there's also a little bit of competition between the prey animal, and this is who doesn't get caught. So obviously there's frogs, like poison arrow frogs, who use their things so they don't get caught, and so that the snake may eat another animal instead of them. Now, in species, they try not to compete with each other, otherwise, because that would be interspecies. But however, so they do try and compete with others instead of their own species. Now, competition for territory. And for many animals, setting up and defending a territory is vital. So they need to be able to build a nest, for example. Birds is an obvious example, and they need to be able to this because this is where they mate, they find food, and they need to reproduce to make more offspring. So this is one of the vital things, and birds, for example, will have to fight with each other for the best materials so that they can look after their family, and then they can mate. That's also why they also go to other countries so they can find the best territory for them to live. Finally, we also need to do competition for a mate. Now, this is interspecies because it's normally the same species looking for the same type of mate, same animal. And if you think about a peacock, that's a very big way of how they attract females because of their wings and how amazing it is. However, some species like deer and lions actually fight between themselves, which can be very violent and can sometimes result in death. But as I said before, the other way is just to try and impress with wings and some dance, and that's another way that you can impress your mate. So thank you very much for watching this video. Can you please leave a like, subscribe, and visit my website, the links below. Thank you, and see you good. Bye.
Wolves. These in northern Canada are the largest and most powerful in the world, and they're setting out to hunt. The pack is 25 strong, a sign that the prey they're seeking is formidable. These bison are even bigger than their southern cousins and the largest land animals in North America. For generations, wolves and bison here have been shaped by their battles with each other, making each the most impressive of its kind. The bison will not stay long among the trees. They're not safe here. The wolves are closing in, but their chance of ambushing the bison in the woods has passed. Their prey are now in the open and grouped together for safety. The wolves will need to work as a team if they're to make a kill. They circle the herd, trying to unsettle it and split it up. But the bison are armed and dangerous. They will be safe as long as they stick together. The wolves up their game, harrying the herd, a ploy to trigger a stampede and split away one of the smaller ones. The bison form a defensive circle around their young, horns pointing outwards. The wolves need a bison to break rank. But the tables are turning, and now the wolves have to retreat. The pack focus their attention on the rear of the herd, and the bison begin to panic. A young bison falls behind. Even this yearling dwarfs the wolves. Running head down, the herd's only thought is escape. A stroke of luck for the wolves. The kill will feed the pack for several days, but then they will have to resume the chase. At the frozen ends of our planet, the struggle for survival never eases. Lions will normally avoid hunting in such heat. But they're also opportunists. The lions will need to bring him down quickly before they overheat. Even away from the herd, a bull is a formidable opponent. It could gore and kill a lion. Close to overheating, they finally succeed in bringing him to the ground. But the massive bull is not giving up. Against the odds and the full weight of the lions, he regains his feet. And it is now that the tables turn. The lions are exhausted. After a 20-minute struggle, only the bull has the energy to finish the fight. In such exposed and extreme conditions, the challenge for predators and their prey is at its most intense.
A feeding frenzy in Costa Rica has turned into an all-out battleground. And for 4 species that call this region home, the fight is life or death. My name is Felipe D'Andrade, and I'm a National Geographic wildlife filmmaker. It looks like one of the alpha males and then a juvenile male. My passion for animals has taken me across the world and given me a deep appreciation for this earth. For Season 2 of Untamed, we'll be exploring one of the most biologically diverse countries in the world, Costa Rica. The Talamanca mountain range is home to 4 of the most extraordinary species of hummingbirds in all of Costa Rica. The fiery-throated, volcano, lesser violet ear, and the Talamanca hummingbird. Because they make their home at an elevation of 9,000 feet, nectar-rich flowers are more difficult to come by. And that means these tiny birds live in a constant feeding frenzy. But in all this fighting over food, they're actually benefiting the world around them. These little birds have a much larger impact than people realize. Over 75% of the world's flowers rely on birds, insects, and bats for pollination. And in a single day, this 4-inch pollinator could visit up to 2,000 flowers while feeding. It's the rainy season here in Costa Rica, and this young Talamanca female is trying to load up on as many nutrients as she can. When the weather drops, finding nectar-rich flowers in bloom won't be so easy, and she'll have to rely on her own reserves to keep her in flight. This larger male isn't quite ready to give up this valuable resource to a rival bird. Her efforts have also drawn in the attention of males outside of her species, turning a difficult task into a nearly impossible one. Fiery-throated hummingbirds aren't just named for their vibrant colors, but likely their feisty spirit as well. They fight this way because they need to consume around their body weight in nectar every day. In a clash of brilliant colors and armed with sword-like bills, hummingbird fights are stunning, adrenaline-fueled battles. Constantly on the brink of starvation, she struggles to sip even a single drop of nectar. But if she is going to live another day, she cannot allow a male to dominate this precious food source and decide her fate. The survival of this species depends on fierce females, who will live on to attract a mate and carry on their line.
A nomadic hyena moves in on a rival's territory. Policing his turf, the landowner takes a stand and raises the hair on his neck almost a foot high. He wants to look big and bad. Both hyenas are evenly matched. Their inch-long canine teeth are designed for tearing flesh. The hyena has a bite pressure of around 1,000 pounds per square inch. That's about 3 times greater than a Rottweiler's. The nomad stands firm. The landowner puts his opponent in a headlock. Then, a counterattack from the nomad. The landowner won't back down. Realizing he's out of his depth, the nomad changes his tune. Heavy cries and vocalizations signal surrender. The ferocious scavenger secures his turf.
As winter retreats from Lamar, a new threat to the Druids invades the valley. A strong pack of 15 from Slough Creek to the north. They're already deep in Druid territory, intent on conquest. The Druids respond, but their strength has diminished. Now they are only 9. The Sloughs can hear the Druids' weakness and attack. Though outnumbered, the Druids set out to meet them. Tails waving high with confidence, the Sloughs smell victory. But the Druids are fighting for everything they own. The battle begins in confusion. The young Druids don't know what to do. Then the chief of the Sloughs takes charge, attacking the Druids' new leader. The Druids are on the run. The best they can do is escape with their lives. The once mighty Druid clan is scattered. Bound for hard times, they head into exile. The Sloughs begin to gather. They have done what no other pack has been able to do in almost 10 years. They've broken the Druids and taken Lamar, the greatest prize in Yellowstone. And they know it. Their victory celebration is loud and long.
A young Bengal tigress swelters under the Indian sun. It's the dry season, at 115 degrees. Too young to have claimed her own turf, and too old to be with her mother, she's homeless and hungry. And there's little cover in this dry forest, which makes her easy to spot. She gets lucky and stumbles across a gathering of chittledeer. Absolute stealth is her only chance. But before she can even pounce, it all falls apart. She didn't blow it. He did. 500 pounds of cranky cat. The young tigress was hunting on his turf. And now she has to pay the price. She has no choice but to concede. The tigress is left to tend to her wounds. She's lucky to be alive. If she were a male, he might have killed her.
Can the new Springwatch family male stay as top fox in the area? When there's a standoff with another adult male, it looks like things are about to get serious. Initially, it looks like neither fox wants to fight. But when the intruder doesn't leave, our male attacks. They push against each other to test their strength. Neither is backing down. Fights like this can cause serious injuries, and the cubs hang well back, out of harm's way. Curiously, the Springwatch vixen is paying a lot of attention to the fight. This is a real chance for our male to stake his claim to this patch, and he proves his strength. Eventually, the intruding male submits. The intruder limps off. With all this drama, life is looking increasingly uncertain for Junior.
well concealed in the undergrowth. A tiny bird is full of hope. The male wire-crested thorntail requests the pleasure of this dance. The 4-inch tall hummingbird presents himself. And then pulls out all the stops. His solo lasts just a few seconds. It takes slow motion to truly enjoy this vigorous performance. Using every seduction trick in the book, he tries to persuade her that he is Mr. Right. The display costs the male an enormous amount of energy, but it's his only chance to win a mate. The female finally responds, follows him, but just so far. She simply is not that into him.